This video contains spoilers for all of the Final Destination movies, including Bloodlines. Please go watch Bloodlines. Please, please, please go watch Bloodlines before you return to this, maybe. Looking around and probably getting a general vibe of who you think I might be, you can probably surmise that I am not a horror guy. And you are right, I am a scared little guy. I probably have anxiety so bad that occasionally I think there's no way society could run if everyone felt the way I did. But I don't know, I'm not diagnosed, so don't take my word for it. The horror guy was my mother. She absolutely adored horror movies. Most every single DVD of hers was a horror movie. A pretty famous one that my dad asks me all the time if I'm gonna watch is The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. It's a good movie. I love that movie. I've watched it on a streaming service, but he seems to think we have it, and I keep telling him, no, we don't have this movie. We should have it because it's a really great movie. So while my mom was being cool and awesome loving horror movies, I took one look at the Silence of the Lambs DVD cover and thought, nope. I don't want this. I don't want anything to do with this. I'm too scared. I will not be able to sleep. I will imagine it forever and ever and ever. I still haven't watched Silence of the Lambs. I still haven't watched most horror movies. You want to know how I quote unquote watch horror movies to not get scared? I watch Dead Meat talk about them in his kill counts. I love rewatching the Saw ones. They are so funny. Slow a mother effing Jeff, and you don't know how much it me to have to censor myself like that, considering I'm mostly on Tumblr, and Tumblr is free range. You can say whatever you want, and it does not matter. The dead internet theory is probably just there to distract you from the everything is sanitized now! But there is indeed one horror franchise that I absolutely adore, and I do have on DVD, and I rewatch all the time because I love them, and I love to rewatch everything that I love because I love DVDs! Please get DVDs! I'm doing the YouTuber thing of taking quite a while to get to the topic, even though the topic is in the title and in the thumbnail, and it's Final Destination! I love Final Destination so much! You guys don't understand. And I've watched them so many times, I don't even consider them horror anymore. They don't scare me, which is rather surprising, as I've talked to with a friend who was like, yeah, those movies kind of scare me, and I'm assuming they scare the average individual, considering they're kind of designed to make you scared of everything, including log trucks. I'm not scared of log trucks, by the way. I just think, wow, neat Final Destination reference. I don't have the best memory in all the world, so the most I can tell you of how I discovered this franchise was my brother wanted to watch them, I think, and then we watched them all together, and yes, indeed, the first time we watched them all, we were very, very scared. But now we just make fun of them. It's so much fun to go back to something that you really like and make fun of it. Make endless fun of it. Is it really your fave thing if you can't make fun of it? I realized if I do manage to convince anyone to watch The Gray Man with me, it would be an awful, awful experience with them because I will give them the worst, most awful commentary that I think is super hilarious because I know things about these characters, but they won't know anything. They'll just be like, why are you giggling every time Lavi and Alan even remotely look at each other? Let me see. My old ranking of all the movies was 2, 5, 1, 3, and 4. 4 is easily the worst one, but I still love it because it's Final Destination. And that's how I went going to watch Bloodline. I thought, even if this movie is garbage and everyone hates it, it'll still be my garbage. Hashtag my garbage, and I will love it because it is Final Destination, and I love Final Destination! Even the worst entry, 4! It's silly, it's funny. It's got 2 premonitions in it, and you guys have no idea how happy I am to see that everyone loves Bloodlines, and it's really, really good! Please go watch Bloodlines! I was thinking of making a countdown of sorts with my Random Thoughts live action short, rewatching all of the movies before Bloodlines dropped, but it turns out Bloodlines dropped at the same time as my brother graduated, so I felt that would be rather anticlimactic if I did a whole countdown of all the Final Destination movies. You would get some other random thing that would pop into my head and it wasn't Bloodlines and it would be inconsistent, and I didn't like that. I got way too anxious making all those shorts every day. Nobody cares, and that's fine because I can talk about whatever I want. I got emotional just hearing the New Line Cinema logo play out, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm home, and I'm about to watch a bunch of people die in the most gruesome ways whatsoever because this is Final Destination, and then I'm gonna watch them all die in some spectacularly funny Rube Goldberg type way because this is Final Destination, and that's what they do. That's what they do. You know what's really funny to me? You know what's extremely funny to me? The death they showed in the first teaser, the tattoo parlor? Not even real. Eric doesn't even die there. By some technicality, but he does die later, so I love Final Destination. I love this franchise so much. I actually have several OCs named after Final Destination characters. Mostly characters from 2, because 2 is my favorite. Kimberly, Rory, and Nora. I think those names are pretty. What I'm drawing here in the background, I like to make actor AUs for my OCs. So replacing characters in franchises with my OCs and making them act out, things like that. These are all the main characters from the Final Destination movies. Alex, Kimberly, Wendy, Nick, Sam, and the newest one, Stephanie. And yes, I had to look up Nick's name because I'm sorry, I forgot Nick's name. And even though I do have characters named Kimberly and Wendy respectively, these two that I drew for Kimberly and Wendy are not those Kimberly and Wendy. They're 2 different OCs with 2 different names. If I name a character after someone from a franchise, I do not like using them as the exact character. It feels like I'm stealing the whole character, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to steal the character. I just want to pay homage to my beloved Blorbos. So I took a rideshare home from the movie theater because my dad was too lazy to take me home. And the guy who took me home was like, oh, it's a Final Destination movie. It's like all the other Final Destination movies. I didn't know how to explain it at the time, but I can do it now. It does take a similar formula to the previous Final Destination movies, but it changes it enough that it feels like new. There is a premonition at the beginning in which a bunch of people die, but then it turns out the person having the premonition isn't even the person in the premonition. Stephanie is not Iris. She's been having a nightmare of Iris's premonition of the Skyview building completely blowing up because of this annoying kid stealing a penny from a fountain and then throwing it. When he got smashed by a piano, the people beside me were like, ooh, karma. Everyone was so excited for that. Everyone was so happy about that. Only Final Destination can make you happy about seeing a kid get squashed by a piano. Oh, such a terrible thing to say. But it's a horror movie, so you'll understand. The initial premonition happened, and the person who had the premonition, Iris, dies and then all her family members die afterward. She didn't just save like a handful of people. I was counting people in the premonition who had notable roles or notable deaths because they're usually the ones that get saved. But it turns out Iris saves everyone. She's the first one to like have a breakdown about her premonition. People actually listen to her, and hella ton of people get saved, and there were a hella ton of people who ruined Death's design. So it took absolutely forever to get to her because you know how death is in this universe. They take their time and make up these elaborate little schemes. They can't just kill a guy. And also, I think this is the first time they actually refer to Death as a he. And I'm like, okay, cool. Death's a whole guy. I think that was just to make us suspicious of Bloodworth. Bloodworth's a sweetie. Iris saved him too from the Skyview. That's why he knew all this stuff so he can tell all the friends and be like all cryptic. Since Death took so long to get to Iris, she now has a whole family. They die in age. Iris's first son, then his oldest kid to his youngest kid, and Iris' second child to her oldest kid to her youngest kid. And that's how that goes. Very similar to older Final Destinations, but different enough. Still great, and they give us a huge, gigantic timeline, because apparently the Skyview incident that Iris was involved happens before Flight 180, and it ends after the 4th movie. The 4th movie had the last premonition we ever saw. Final Destination 5 is a prequel to 1. An awesome twist. I love it. The survivors of Final Destination 5 get on a plane to Paris. And the way Stephanie and her brother die at the end of Bloodlines, oh my gosh, it's just so good. Okay, the very beginning of Bloodlines, it's quiet, and it's slowly zooming in on train tracks. But, oh, this movie doesn't have to do a train. A train is irrelevant. Let's do something else. And at the very, very end, some lady who has found Iris's cursed penny that she took from the kid drops the penny onto the train tracks, derails the train, and then it's gonna go and hit the sibling, and then logs kill them! And then you make me want to shout! Oh, I wish I saw one of the promotional log trucks they were using. I wish I saw them. I would have lost my mind. Oh, goodness. As I've mentioned multiple times, my favorite Final Destination movie, I think Bloodlines is now my favorite, but my favorite of the original was 2, and you have no idea how excited I was to learn that Kimberly is alive! Wow! And also her friend that lived. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought the actor was pretty hot, but he has a profession that is frowned upon today, so I'm not gonna talk about him. I almost thought they psyched us out with Kimberly being alive, because the way Stephanie and her brother almost cheat death is similar to the way Kimberly did. Stephanie drowns and gets saved. At the final hour, a doctor shows up and he was like, actually, she didn't die. She was just unconscious, so you guys are still gonna die. And that made me think, oh, so does that mean Kimberly's not actually alive? But it turns out Kimberly did flatline into, and she was brought back to life, so she is indeed alive. I'm so incredibly happy. I love Kimberly. They name dropped Kimberly, and that was immediately filed into the back of my mind, and I'm like, bring her back. What is this? Why would you name drop her? Give her to me. Where is she, please? I want to see my girl! And that's the tiny little spark of hope that maybe we'll get even more Final Destination movies. All of these 5 are probably connected to the Skyview. The people who died in these original 5 movies are probably related to people who should have died in Skyview. It'd be really cool to see. I don't know. I kind of want to rewatch the premonition scene just to see if I can tell who could possibly be related to who. I'm pretty sure the Penny Kid is related to Quarter Guy Hunt in 4. That seems like a pretty easy connection to make, but I want to rewatch the premonition. I want to see these people. I want to see if any one of them could give me vibes of some previous people, because there were definitely some old people that were name dropped, and they had to have been name dropped for a reason. I just want to know. I want to connect the dots. I'm having so many feelings about Bloodlines. They're almost overwhelming my feelings about D. Grayman, but there's a lot more D. Grayman than Bloodlines. There aren't gay people in Final Destination, so D. Grayman's still winning out in that battle. One last random thought before I close out here. People should never make some sort of diary, journal, big ol' scrapbook type thing in a movie or show, because I will want it. I want Iris's death journal so bad. Make a real version and sell it to me, please. I don't know why people keep making journals in shows and movies and stuff and not making real versions that I would want, that I would buy immediately. I want to throw money at you and you're not letting me, please. Please let me buy Iris's death journal. Anyways, that was me rambling about one of my favorite franchises of all time. I probably didn't make any sense whatsoever, but I just really wanted to make this video. Have fun, don't drive behind log trucks, and I love you. Bye.